Welcome, fam, to the FN Hangout. I'm your guy, Kinetics, and in homage of Captain RG3, ahoy, crypto pirates! I got no blunderbusses around here, guys. Sorry, I don't have any way to make you stick them up and hold them up here in front of the screen, other than real guns. And we've done that before, and we got our stream shut down instantly, so we will not be playing that game. So I appreciate you guys all for joining me. Captain RG3 will not be able to make it tonight. The gentleman had an emergency that would have either led to him sleeping on the couch at the least and filing for divorce at the most. So we decided, let's not play that game. He's terribly, terribly disappointed to not be able to introduce this guest, who is no stranger to the Hexican community. I don't believe she's shown up on any other shows yet, or at least I haven't seen her yet. But I know you guys are going to know who this is. Will you guys please give a round of applause for Lacey Claire Rogers? How are you doing today, Lacey?
Hi, I'm doing really well, actually. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I mean, FN Hangouts, the Friday night Hangouts are always a lot of fun. We've got a huge community, and we've got a lot of people that are absolutely amazing. So
Cool.
It's hanging out with friends is what Friday nights are. So
That's
it's
awesome.
yeah. And so I'm hoping that you get to meet a few of the maybe not all of them, because I know some of you guys out there, and we're gonna try to protect this young lady from most of you guys out there. But the rest of you guys are pretty good guys. So we're hoping, and we actually have we just had a stream for ladies. I don't know if you caught on our channel earlier. It was completely a ladies stream, and we probably have as far as the crypto community is concerned, probably more females and more ladies and very educated and very smart women in the Hexican community. So we're very, very blessed. And maybe you could actually show up to one of those shows one of these times. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I would love that. I like being a part of this community, so I'm really honored to be here. And this is my first show since being on Richard's.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, you started with the GOAT, so everything is easy and downhill from here. So
I like to start at the top.
There you go. That sounds good. I like that. So I actually have prepared some questions for you tonight, because I'd like the Hexican community know a little bit more about you, how you found out about us, and what the future looks like for you. So the first question I really have is, what was your first exposure to the Hex community?
Well, I think it was this past Christmas. I was at home with my dad, and one thing that my dad and I have really been connecting on the past 2 years is stocks. He's been teaching me how to invest. I was going to invest in a house, and he was like, no. I think, like, let's get you in the stock market first. Because he's had a lot of success with it the past couple of years. But he grew up doing real estate. And so we kind of were learning.
Man after my own heart right there.
Yeah, great guy. So we were honestly learning crypto together. You know, he's 65, trying to figure this new age world out. And
that's really cool, by the way. The fact that he's willing and open to learn a whole new industry that he's not familiar with, and to do it with his daughter is really cool. I have 2 daughters, and that'd be a dream come true when they're of that age where we can actually have those conversations. But I'm also a finance nerd, so of course that would be bonding time for me. So don't let me. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead, continue. You guys are learning this together.
We're learning it together, and one of his good friends, my dad, also most of his career grew up working in the oil fields.
Yeah.
One of his friends who worked in the oil fields with him, Travis Peak, he's a huge Hexican. You may have seen his name. Yeah, Travis Peak. So he lives in my hometown. And my dad called him up, said that we were interested. And Travis Peak actually has a great success story with Hex, got into it in 2020, had a tremendous amount of success with it, and just wanted to tell all of his friends about it. And so he went and bought my dad a hardware wallet. He came over, set everything up, and to the point where he went and bought my dad a new computer to, like, make sure it was secure and it worked. So anything
didn't already have some kind of virus or Trojan in it?
I'm not sure. I mean, honestly, the computer probably worked. My dad just didn't know how to work it.
Okay, fair enough.
I flew back to LA, and anything that Travis was telling my dad would call and tell me. And this was around the time right before the Pulse sacrifice was about to end. It was the beginning of January, and my dad really wanted me to be a part of the sacrifice because Travis was also encouraging us to do that. So I set up my hardware wallet for the first time, really, to invest in Hex. Hex was my first. I had like a couple of things, but I wasn't investing correctly until Travis taught me how. Like I was like doing things on Robinhood. I didn't have a hardware wallet.
Yeah.
So
well, real quick. Thank you, Travis, for setting her straight from the get-go. That is great. So that her first investment in crypto is like the right investment. So first of all, shout out to you, brother. And so congratulations on winning already. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, it feels good. I remember coming back to LA and showing my partner, my boyfriend, a video, one of Richard Hart's interviews, because I was like super excited about this. And I was trying to tell my friends to get a part of it too. And we watched one interview of Richard's, and it was with this, believe she was British. I forget which interview that was. But from that one interview, both of us were like, we trust this person. Like, how do we be a part of this? How do we do it? And so I ended up getting him a hardware wallet as well. And we both bought Hex, and we both put money into the sacrifice. So that was kind of like my introduction to Hex and investing in Hex.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
So did Travis facilitate you? So you were sold on Richard. You if you're anything like me, and you'll have to tell me what your perception of Richard was, but I thought, man, this guy's not afraid to tell the truth. He's not making friends out there because he's not afraid to tell it as it is. And I could just tell he was genuine, and it was true. I mean, everything he said rang true to me. So did Travis help facilitate that interview with Richard? And did you feel comfortable going on with Richard even beforehand, just because of your previous watching of his streams?
So watching his streams, I mean, he's a super extravagant type of person, but they never really bothered me. I liked how blunt and straightforward he was. Like, I just found him really interesting. And so I didn't have any kind of hesitation, but Travis did help facilitate it. Since December, I think he was messaging Richard, said, hey, I got this girl, like, she has a cool community. It would be cool to cross communities. And months later, he contacted me again. He was like, hey, I talked to Richard again. He was like, you message him, and he said that he's down to do it. And so when I messaged Richard, he was like, yeah. And we set it up, and we filmed it like the next month.
Well, I love it. I think that's cool. I think that was, I mean, obviously it was the first time that any of us Hexicans had seen you interact with Richard. Now you have a career outside of this, so you're already well known in other communities. Like, you have your own following, your own community. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that community?
Let's see. Well, I would say my community really came from when I started modeling. I started modeling when I was 17 years old, from a small town in Arkansas, and kind of just like worked my way up. But a big part of that following, social media following, came from being on America's Next Top Model when I was 18. So I'm a reality show girl.
Oh, right on. See, I didn't even know that. So I'm learning something here.
Yeah. So that happened, I mean, like 7 years ago. I was still in high school, and I moved to LA shortly after. And this was around 2015. So like the beginning of like really the boom of Instagram and like influencers. So I came out here to model, but I mean, really just being an influencer paid the bills.
Yeah, and that's great.
Kind of ran with that. And now I think we're seeing a transition from the word influencer to creator, which I like better.
Most influencers do like creator better. So there's a lot of cheesy insinuations that come with the word influencer. So
right. I mean, that's kind of gotten trashed on. Like there was a period in time where I was really embarrassed to do what I do, to the point where I went and got a job selling wine. I hated telling people like what I did. I would lie and say I did social media marketing just because I feel like I would lose respect immediately. And now, I mean, that could have just been me being insecure. Now I don't really mind it because I'm secure with myself, but
that's
like,
good. Yeah.
yeah, I
Well, I
went
want
through.
to circle back. I want to circle back to you and your career here in just a moment, but I want to get back to just a moment. When you agreed to go to Sweden to meet Richard, were you nervous, or did he already make you feel comfortable after just one interview with him?
You know, I really loved the interview that we did with Richard. I mean, that's kind of the style of our interviews. We always want to know more about feelings. Both her and I aren't like crypto like goddesses. I know enough of the language to kind of have a conversation about it, but that wasn't the purpose of the interview. We really wanted to know his story, his upbringing, like how he is, how his mental health is. So I was, we were all, the whole community was all very like, it's great that we got to see that side of him. So that went well. We were extremely nervous. I remember like sweating so much in the interview. Like I didn't want to fuck anything up. Like the light, we couldn't figure out our audio, and I was like, fuck. So yeah, he did make us feel a little bit comfortable. You know, he marketed
Good.
me from the bat, like straight off the bat as the Playboy model, which was like, of course.
Of course.
Like,
Well,
I mean,
this is a community of 99% dudes.
yeah.
It was a wise decision of his point to use that angle. It really
Oh,
was.
for sure. So I felt, yeah, we did feel comfortable. I think me more
Good.
than my co-host Stephanie, because I've kind of lived this kind of lifestyle where it's like, you want to come here? Yeah, like it's I've done like film and production before, and she was like, Lacey, like what if something happens? What if, something goes wrong? And I was just like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like I was just so yes. And she was like, okay, we have to think about, maybe the not so good things.
Well,
But
I'm
yeah,
glad
I'm
it
comfortable.
good. Well, I'm glad it worked out so well. Well, so I didn't plan on asking you about this, but we had a little bit of a discussion in the green room before we started. And I've tried to tell my community this. When I got to meet Richard Hart and have a one-on-one interaction, and I was able to interview him in person, it was so different than the Richard Hart that you see portrayed on YouTube. The way that he just leaves dead bodies behind, and he's really confrontational. And it's not even that he's confrontational, because he starts off good. It's when people turn confrontational on him, he's like, oh, okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
one of those streams. It's time to go ahead and turn on the persona.
Right.
But when you get to meet him person to person, he was probably one of the most genuine people that I've ever met, and it just isn't conveyed. I was hoping you could tell me a little bit about your experience with Richard.
Yes. I don't want to say too much because you guys can find out, I guess, when you watch it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Not everyone's gotten the opportunity to see the post edits like RG and I have. So
Mhm. Yeah. I pretty much exactly what you said. You expect one thing, but then you get another. I
mhm.
and I told him this in person. You just feel like a Florida boy, like I grew up in the South. Like I just felt like we were hanging out. Like I genuinely feel like he could be my friend. Like he's so funny. Like, and you wouldn't expect, like he's genuinely so funny.
He's
We
hilarious. He's witty.
Yeah.
He's witty. He just comes up with stuff.
And you know what? Some of the fun, like to be like really funny, you also have to be really fucking intelligent. And that's
Yes.
what he is because he's not stupid. Like
No.
he's so intelligent, which makes his humor cut even deeper. Um, but yeah, he does have a warm side. He did care about us. He did like remember things and ask questions about us. And I remember we were sitting at lunch one day and he was like, I really like you too. And we were like, what? Tell us more. You just feel like you're warm, you're inviting, you're non-judgmental, like you listen to me. And he's like, you feel like my friends. And both of us were like, Richard.
You're like, we are your friends.
Yeah, you don't mean
Halfway
that.
around the world to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I just wanted someone other than myself to be able to convey that to the rest of the community, because I've probably beat that horse to death, but
Mhm.
it's just the way he is. Like, you can genuinely tell that he cares for the people around. Like, when we were at the after the party, there was an after party in a club, and he's like reaching out to everyone. Are you doing all right? Are you doing all right? How everything good? You want me to get you a drink? Like, just the
Right.
most genuine guy. Like, and you wouldn't assume that's him.
No,
So
he was always referring to us as like the girls, like, hey, make sure the girls have water, like make sure like where are the girls riding? Like, so that was really nice. Yeah, he really does care for people, which that demean I've seen it online. I mean, I see the way he shows up for the community, and that really
yeah,
spoke a lot to me, just how he's constantly updating and like checking in on people and tweeting. And I found that very different. I mean, I don't know of many crypto founders, but for him to kind of really be active said a lot to
yeah,
me. And just being around him, I know there's like a lot of speculation, a lot of haters, and a lot of people saying like it's a scam. And I just personally, I don't believe someone who cares like he does would ever create something that would be he's not scammy to me. I
yeah,
don't get scam vibes. Like I just don't. And I feel like I have a pretty good read on people.
yeah. Well, it says a lot about the guy to continue to be active. If it was a scam, do you think he'd be as public as he is? I mean, it
Right.
just doesn't. The empirical data doesn't match the accusations, as far as I'm concerned. But you're right. Like, when you get to meet the guy, and even I think he conveys it pretty well in his live streams that he's genuine. But even those that his haters, his detractors out there,
Mhm.
if they really actually knew the guy and they hung out with the guy, they'd be like, oh, this guy actually does care about his community. He does care about the people that he's hanging out with. So it's like, again, it's just cool to get validation from another person and to
Mhm.
be able to let the community know that that exists. And I can't wait for you guys to see the human element that these girls bring out in Richard Hart. It's amazing, guys. So be ready. This film that's coming out, be ready to cry, be ready to laugh, be ready to feel the whole gamut of emotions, because they will come. And I'm the first to admit on stream, here, out of all the Hex streamers, that I've cried on stream before, especially as it pertains to kids. But not a whole lot drives me to that point, but this film definitely did. So I can't wait for you guys to see Lacey in this. So it's great. But I guess that kind of leads us right into the next question: is what is your ambition for the future? I think I kind of have an idea, but I'd like you to tell us.
I have like more grounded like work answer, and then I have like a hippie answer.
So give us some more grounded first, and then we'll do the ideal utopia afterward.
Okay. Well, the more grounded is I'm really focusing on my acting career right now. I feel like I have to you quite literally have to fight out here. You can't just sit back and have something handed to you. I think when I first moved out here, coming from a small town, being 18 years old, like you think that it's going to be easy. And so I just coasted for a couple of years, and I thought luck would get me by. And in 2020 I was actually going to move to Denver to start flipping houses.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I've always wanted to be an actress since I was a little girl. I grew up on stage. I just love to entertain. And I was just thinking, I'm going to be so mad at myself if I leave the city where you can do this. I'll be so mad. So since 2020, I've kind of been running towards this goal,
Good for
and
you.
it's been really fun. It's creatives are so fun. Like creativity is so fun. Any kind of art form is so fun. And once you find something that resonates with you, it just is so effortless. It feels like a playground to me. Um, so yeah, I love the community. I love what I've learned about myself through this process. I like being challenged and fighting for something and getting those small wins. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of my grounded answer. Is really going gung ho on my acting career.
Okay, so give me your hippie answer now.
So I don't really have a super competitive nature, and I never have. I've always kind of been like, you know, whatever happens, happens. Like, if you win, I'm still fine. Like, I'm not super competitive. And so when people have my entire life, you get asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what do you want to do? I've envied the people that have always known or like knew. So I was like, I don't fucking know. But
I turned 40 this year and I still have no idea what I want to do when I grow up. So
yeah, it's so funny. Like when you're young, like it's beat into your skull. Like, what are you going to do when you like graduate? And you're like, I'm a kid. Like I live with my parents, like from this small town. Like I don't know anything about the world yet.
Yeah. Even though you might think you know more than you actually do. At least that was my experience. And my parents like to remind me of that. You thought you knew everything. So
yeah. But when people ask me that, like, what do you want to do? Or like, what do you want? And really the first thing that comes to mind is just to be happy. I think, of course, I have goals, but if I don't get them, it's okay. Like I really just want happiness. And I feel like I have that. And it's super important, you know, like no matter where you're at in your journey, or no matter if you've like succeeded or not, like it's really important to find your happiness in the now. Like, and I have that with like where I'm at personally with my friends and like connections. So yeah, I just want to be happy. That's what I want most out of life.
That's super cool. Now I think I need to throw a caveat in there because I think you might agree with me on this, but as long as what you're doing that makes you happy still pays the bills too, because no one wants to be happy living under a bridge, correct?
Right. That's Hex.
Yeah, that's right. Hex billboard just popped up.
Right. Well, to be happy, and that's kind of like you do what you love. You got to find what, like, I mean, I'm not saying like things aren't going to be handed to you. Like life isn't going to be easy. Like work hard, but do what you love.
Yep. Yeah, we shout out to one of our community members, become a pretty good buddy of mine, young kid, actor, Kyler Kaufman. He's got his new movie, Geo, coming out. Shout out to you, brother. His first investment ever was Hex. The kid can't be more than 21 years old, and it probably doesn't weigh more than 120 pounds soaking wet with a handful of quarters. But this kid is quality people. And I just want to give you a giant shout out there, Kyler. But yeah, he's the same. He says, you know, Hex can take care of my cost of living so I can continue to pursue this dream. So
wow. Yeah, no, it's, I mean, going into the acting field, it ain't fucking cheap. Like, and it takes about 10 years to build your career. So like,
so you decided to go into acting. I decided I'll stick with the real estate game because I didn't have the talent or the looks to be able to go into your field. So congratulations. You keep working on that for all of us here who could only by proxy live that dream.
Listen,
you keep chugging that. All right.
I'm not going to be cute forever. Let's just like, I was actually calling because I want to get into real estate and I just don't have the education or the steps. Like I don't have anyone in my circle to kind of tell me the steps. And I saw this house pop up in LA and I was like, oh, that's my dream house. And
there you go.
It was under $1 million. And I was like, you know, that's cheap for LA. So I called my bank and I was like, hey, I don't know anything. Could you tell me like what I need to do?
And you know what though? So that is huge. A lot of people are so afraid to reach out for fear of looking stupid, to ask people who actually know what they're talking about that come from the industry, to ask them for help. So I actually have another channel. We discussed this a little bit that we had other channels. We have one that's a finance channel, and I go through some of the real estate deals that I've done and some of the things that some of the deals we have in the pipe that we're working on right now. And I would actually love to have you as a guest star on a couple episodes of investing in real estate from the newbie point of view, from someone who's just getting started. I think that'd be really cool for us to collaborate that way.
Oh, bring me on, baby.
All right. Sounds good. Because real estate's, that's my jam. So I come from insurance and finance. Okay. And I became a real estate guy. I just got done. Literally, I signed yesterday the paperwork to give my insurance agency away. So
Wow.
we're going full time with the real estate and the other businesses that we've built. We're building the vertical integration for Richard. We've had a lot of conversations behind the scenes. We're building where crypto meets the legacy finance space.
Wow.
And so I've gone full time officially doing that. And with this other channel, I get to focus on my other passion, which is real estate. So that's really cool to hear. I had no idea that you came from a background where your father was a real estate investor. It's something that it seems funny when you come from parents that are real estate investors. It's almost like predestined in your bones at some level you will be investing in real estate to some degree.
Oh, I'm the youngest and I'm the creative of the family. And my dad growing up really wanted to teach us good work ethic. We had a really comfortable life, but he always wanted to teach us how to work. Like one of our first jobs, he bought this bulk trailer load of watermelons and made us on the side of the highway and sell them.
No way.
Yep. And then when I was 15, my sisters were 16, he bought us a house because my mom and dad owned like over 100 properties, like houses, condominiums.
Yeah.
My entire life, I grew up with my dad flipping them, like dealing with renters, like they were just landlords. So he bought us a house to flip, and I hated it. I hated it so much.
I'm not a house flipper personally. It's a lot of active work right there.
I was 15 years old, sitting in the Arkansas heat in the summer, and I remember this is where I like efficiency. My dad was like, "Hey, I need you to sand the floors." So I sanded the floors. Then he was like, "Okay, now I need you to wipe down the walls so we can paint them." Okay, did that. Now I need you to sand the floors again. They need to be sanded. Now I need you to wipe down the walls again. And I was like, "What do you mean? Like we could have done this in order." And I just gave up. So my sisters actually stayed with it. One of them stayed with it while she was in high school. Now the other one owns a couple of houses. And Arkansas real estate is cheap. Like you can get a house, like a fixer-upper for $30,000. And you can just kind of like work.
I'll have to talk to you about the rents out there too, because some of these Hexicans out here with some of these hex gains, 1 monthly stake-ins, 1 2-week stake-ins, and they could probably just buy some of these places with cash. So yeah. I'm imagining there's probably a pretty good cash on cash return that way. Yeah,
there is. Yeah, I mean, I was considering buying my first house in Arkansas, maybe like moving back, not like officially moving back, but just like being there for a couple months
long enough. Yeah,
my dad can show me like, hey, the pipes are bad, like, hey, we need this, like this is how you do this. And I could also like learn my style just because like the risk is so low there.
Yeah, it's funny, it's serendipitous, the timing here on this, because I just actually messaged a buddy here earlier today saying, hey man, I'm sorry I haven't got that over to you yet. I literally had a phone call at 6:30 this morning. My property manager was like, hey, we got a leak in your rental on this one street. And I was like, oh, all right. So crawl out of bed, and usually I'm a pretty early riser, but it wasn't today. And to be dragged out of bed with, hey, we got to go take care of this leaking, essentially it was a toilet that was just eating through the drywall. Wow. There are some downsides to it that sometimes I'm just like, man, maybe I should just go all in on this hex thing, because I get this passive income without having to deal with tenants and toilets. But the other side of things is, it's nice to have an income outside of crypto when the bear market comes. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, I have a property manager. And if there's one thing I could tell everybody who does real estate investing, have a good property manager, unless you want to deal with the midnight calls yourself. So, and I'm not that guy. So, hey, let me go back to this. So when you started talking about the creative and you started modeling first, was acting always going to be part of that goal, you think, or did it just blossom out of modeling? What did they have? Was there a crossover there that you saw that you're like, okay, you were exposed to one and you're like, hey, I like this other thing too?
Well, acting was always from literally since I was so young. it was always acting. I competed in like creativity competitions. Like it was like a worldwide competition from kindergarten through 8th grade. You know, it was always acting. I remember 8th grade, I was trying to get scouted by LA agents. And, my dad being the hard worker, like, and just acting in like the creative industry isn't like a thing in Arkansas. I remember him telling me when I was in 8th grade, like,
no, you don't say.
yeah, he was like, because I wanted to go to LA when I was in 8th grade and I was going to do anything to get there. And he was like, Lacey, you can't even get the lead role in the school play. What makes you think that you can make it in LA? And I was just, I was like, watch me. And so modeling really kind of fell into my lap. I've always said that. I didn't grow up with much confidence. I didn't really think that I was model material ever. I dealt with like a couple encounters of like girls bullying me, like in 8th grade, freshman year, like, just girl shit. And I ended up like losing an unhealthy amount of weight because I was going through an eating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting attention for the first time ever. And that's really what kind of also started the modeling thing. Was I was getting confidence. People were noticing me, like people wanted to shoot with me. And so one of my childhood best friends, he was trying to start a photography business in our hometown. And I learned how to model with him. And I would creative direct shoots like with him. And no, my dad didn't understand it. I'd come downstairs in these like crazy outfits instead of going to the football game. And I just wanted to shoot. And so that kind of those photos started to circulate around Arkansas. And then that ended up bringing enough traction to get producers' attention for America's Next Top Model. So I just saw an opportunity.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I ran.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right on. I think that's cool. What are the odds, do you think, that they fell into the producer's hands of America's Top Model? Like, what do you think is that? Do you think that's serendipitous? Is there any way you could have planned that yourself? Or
I definitely had a play or factor into it.
okay.
This was 2014, back when Instagram worked.
Uh-huh.
I remember I read the book The Fault in Our Stars, and one of the main characters' favorite shows was America's Next Top Model. And I was like, I haven't watched that show since I was young. And I watched cycle 21 on Hulu. I was streaming it. And I just remember thinking, this was around the time I started modeling. I was like, I could do so much better. So I started looking up like casting stuff, and I couldn't find anything. And I followed Tyra on Instagram. And a week later, she posted, hey, we're now casting for cycle 22. If you want to be noticed, hashtag this on your photos. So I did. And there were so many people submitting, like I couldn't even find my photos, but two producers reached out to me like about 5-10 minutes later.
5-10 minutes later. That's pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah. And honestly, the casting process took about like 3 or 4 months. And I couldn't tell anyone. Of course, I was in high school and I like wanted to tell everybody. But
yeah.
I remember thinking, I just knew that it was going to happen. I was like, I just knew that I was going to be on the show. Like I just had this knowing. I don't know if it was because like I was from Arkansas and I knew they were probably trying to get like different demographics from all over the US. Like I was young. I had a Southern accent. I was like, I would be perfect for this.
Yeah, I don't hear as much of that Southern accent any longer.
I know it's a little bit there. Like, honestly, if I have a glass of wine, it'll come out.
Maybe next show. Maybe we'll try to pull that out of you on the next show. That's great. I love it. So besides the highest of stakes, which obviously is not out yet, have you ever been in any other published video media outside of YouTube or podcast style videos?
Yeah. I've done a lot of commercial work, a lot of print work, but nothing that you would see in traditional film or TV yet.
Yeah.
Now,
is there something along those lines that you would like to introduce to the Hex family? Something that you might be currently working on.
So, I don't even know how to properly introduce this. I am going to be a part of a film called Mooch, and I'm super excited. This is my first film, actually. Yeah.
That's awesome. So some of you Hexicans might have seen Owen, basketball as we call him, bouncing around the circuit. I actually have Owen here with me today. We're going to go ahead and bring him on here in just a couple minutes. But I want to know what is, as far as what you're allowed to tell us, I want to know what your role in the new upcoming indie film Mooch is.
My name is Dina, and how do I describe her? She's I would describe her as a little bit mysterious and flirty. She has this like effortless, like flirtiness and sexiness, but playfulness about her, which everything I just said, I'm like, wow, I would describe myself that way too.
I have a feeling when I bring basketball up here that he's going to say, yeah, we try to find people who actually already kind of tend to gravitate towards the roles they're going to play as a person off screen, as the person who we're going to cast to play that person on screen. So I bet I'm not reaching too outside the box and putting words in his mouth. Hopefully not anyway.
Yeah, she's a little bit of a playful temptress in a way.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I'm actually going to go ahead and bring Owen up and see if there's anything that Owen would like to add to any new details.
Lacey, you did great without me. I thought you killed it.
Great.
She's definitely killing it. She's definitely killing it. We got a lot of likes over here right now is what I'm seeing. So I haven't seen any thumbs downs yet. So that's good.
Yay.
we need engagement. We need thumbs down and thumbs up kinetics. So we need to
we need every one of you guys to hit the thumbs up button twice and the thumbs down button once. All right, everyone right now do that before we go on any further. I'll wait.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you mentioned that because we were just in the midst of casting for Mooch when I saw the stream with Richard and Lacey, and I actually really was like hung up on her being a Dina character just for the reasons that she described. She's like, I thought it was both, she's sort of like fit sort of what we were picturing for the role, and then as well as just like her vibe seemed to fit it too. And I just YOLO'd, reached out, and it worked out, which is kind of crazy, right?
That's pretty cool. Well, it helps though that you guys, so the name of the production company is First Names Films. And it helps that you guys have a track record of not only being profitable for your investors, but being picked up and actually being shown somewhere. It's not your films aren't just dying off to the wayside.
Yeah, we're very so I have a finance background. I went to like Yale for my MBA, and I just worked at a hedge fund and then built this production company. And so I'm very much like dollars and cents about the whole thing. And so what we really try and do is underspend and then make sure we have a distribution path and sell it for way more money than I spent is the goal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that's how I think about it. But the other thing Lacey mentioned in her stream is that she was looking to get into creative work. And so I thought it'd be cool. And we saw her reels and all her past work, and she's obviously, I think, really talented. So it seemed like a natural fit to us.
I think you guys nailed it. I think you guys knocked it out of the park. I can't wait to see as the production starts to come together and you guys actually start doing the actual filming. And long before we get to post edit, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys put out there, because I don't know, some of you guys, there's a lot of people here in my stream here that have been with us for the last almost 2.5 years. That Discourse Syndicate's been around in the Hex community, and from the early days, ever since Johnny Chaos showed up, and he's a special effects artist, and he's within the community, and he does great streams himself, great videos, debunking haters on Twitter. But we've always had this discussion like, hey man, there's so many creative people in this community, and I'm much more behind the scenes kind of guy like you, Owen. But a lot of people are like, yeah man, it'd be great if we could just put together like this Hex film movie studio. Well, you guys I saw you on for the first time on Crypto Heartbeats channel talking about Mooch, and giving props in the opening credits to Hex, and giving the opportunity for Hexicans to be extras in the film. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this film production crew already exists. Like, why should we build it from the ground up when they've already got a hell of a track record and they want to come to us?
Our past movie, Mean Spirited, represent, would not be possible without Hex. It is sort of my own personal Hex flex, if you will, where I actually invested a lot of the film's budget very early on into Hex, and then was able to actually make this movie possible. And so it felt wrong not to like put it as a sponsorship at the minimum.
And it's great to know right here. So the Friday Night Hangout, guys, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to give you guys the link to come on here in just a little bit. We'll allow very gracefully Lacey to bow out when she feels comfortable doing so. So if she wants to hang out with the community for a little bit, just don't be disrespectful, gentlemen. As you guys come up, if she decides to stay on, but I feel comfortable. I wouldn't call it cutting into the Friday Night Hangout, but the Friday Night Hangout is for the community of Hexicans, and we're all Hexicans here on screen already. So I think that's great. So it's not just, hey, you've seen her talk with the big man Richard himself, and Owen's bringing a cool opportunity for the Hex community, but it's actually a team of Hexicans already here on screen, and we're looking for ways that we can work together going forward. So I think that's pretty neat. Owen, thanks for bringing this to the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think it's pretty natural synergy, especially like I think a lot of Hexicans moved to Puerto Rico for the tax reasons. I invested in movies for the tax reasons. And
I think that's a smarter move. I don't know if you've ever been to Puerto Rico. I've been to Puerto Rico twice, and you better have an off-road vehicle, because I swear the potholes will eat up small children. It is bad. Like it's almost like living in a third world country, except in certain select areas.
Yeah, it is bad. The bio bay is really cool, where you could like swim and all the stuff lights up. But other than that, mainland has got a lot more stuff going on, and it's hard to make movies in Puerto Rico, so I sort of have to stick to the mainland.
There you go.
But yeah, like the and I'm just such a finance nerd, so please just shut me up. But the way that the film financing world is structured is so fascinating to me, where whatever you invest in the film, you could just write off your tax liability, both ordinary income and capital gains. And so actually, like any sort of crypto gain that you like incur, you could just write off if you like invest in projects, which is really cool. And then if you make a lot of movies, like I've made 3 movies before, and if you just keep making a movie, you can keep deferring your tax liability and just basically never pay tax, which is pretty awesome. So that's sort of my goal.
I so a lot of people don't realize that taxes are your number one liability out there, guys. For most of you guys, some of you guys don't marry very well, and the spouse taking half is another big liability for you guys. But the tax man cometh, and you've been there, done that, huh?
Been there, done that.
Fortunately, mine's still going strong. We just had our 12-year anniversary, and unless she presents me with a piece of paper, like this better last forever as far as I'm concerned. So so you're offering a unique opportunity then, Owen, for the community to come forward. And I'm going to go ahead and update the description of the video here. We're going to have an email set up for those who are interested in investing. Let me actually put this in here first, the t.me/Mooch movie for the Telegram channel. Let's go ahead and get that in here, and I'll get that in the chat so that people can start signing up in the Telegram to at least follow what's going on, because this is very much going to be a Hexican effort going forward. And so we're looking for participation from the community, you guys specifically, not just in funding, but also the opportunity to work collaboratively with Hexicans going forward, and having extras and things of that nature as well, which is really cool. Which one thing that wasn't available to Hexicans for the highest of stakes that will be available through you guys is a very unique investment opportunity to get the tax deferment.
Yeah. So the highest of stakes was a donation, but what I'm structuring it so that people can receive equity in the project, and then as well as if they invest like above a certain amount, they can get issued a K1 if they live in the US and get a full like tax write-off and stuff.
Yeah.
And and then I think that what's really cool about that is that, you know, if you become a stakeholder in the film, and we have such like a cool, you know, community that's able to just get stuff viral, like you can kind of make sure that the movie's viral on the back end, and then you can get kind of paid for it in a way.
Yeah.
So
well, you guys have a really neat investor waterfall that's set up, and we'll get you guys more details as time comes out on this. So this is at this point in time, we're willing to let you guys know that something is coming, that this opportunity to invest is coming for you Hexicans. There's some people that this invitation has been offered to first that we're going to give them a couple extra days before we announce this. I'm thinking Monday or Tuesday of next week, if you're okay with that, Owen. We didn't really discuss it.
Yes.
And maybe I preface too much, but I think it'd be a good time to let everybody know that this is coming within a matter of several business days, that this opportunity will be available to Hexicans. And I think it is pertinent at this point in time to let people know that the minimum is at least 1,000, and that 5,000 will get you an extra seat to get you a. And what does that look like? Being an extra in this movie, specifically one scene, what does that entail?
So my idea was that if you invested at least $5,000, you could be an extra in the concert scene. And then you could also, we talked a little briefly, you could kind of wear a shirt representing like Hex or Pulse or whatever that you thought would be cool. And then it'd be like, you know, I also would make it kind of a cool investor day where you can kind of get to know, you know, the cast and, you know, what you invested in. And so that is something that I want to do when we open things up in a few days.
Yeah.
And then, someone noticed in the chat, we didn't even talk about what the movie's about. So, which I feel
give us a synopsis and a breakdown of that, Owen. That's great.
Just like kind of basic. So we're making a crime comedy for this film, and it's sort of like an actor's movie. It's a good opportunity for actors to be able to like really act, and it's supposed to be everything we make is a comedy. So our past movies were like horror comedies, but we're looking. There's a whole bunch of business reasons why it makes sense to make a crime comedy. We think distributors will really like this particular movie, so that's why we want to make it now. But basically, the main character is kind of an old caddy who shouldn't be a caddy. All the other caddies are really young, and then they get accidentally wrapped into this whole crime world. And then it's kind of a comedic, dramatic experience. It's sort of inspired by, you know, Burn After Reading or Big Lebowski in a sense. And so hopefully we get the moonshot moon boy world is that it gets that like cult splash effect, which is cool. Movies are kind of a little bit like crypto in that sense, in that they are kind of moonshotty, where you're like, if you get that cult splash, that's like 100x pretty good, you know? So that's sort of the goal. But we'll see. But we feel great about our team and our, you know, ideas for cast, Lacey particularly, and then the rest of the cast too. I think we have some really cool ideas for casts, but it really depends on like how much we have, like a capped funding. We don't want to overspend on our projects to make sure ROI is really good. But if we do hit like what our cap is, we'll be able to just purely invest that into like getting really high tier talent to make sure that the project gets a lot of marketing attention. So
yeah, well, and it's also kind of a giant billboard for Hex as well, which is really cool. So since there will be, you know, credits to Hex and Hexicans in the film wearing Hex and Pulse gear, which I think is really cool that you would allow that. I think it'd be really cool if everyone came up with their own specific creative way or creative design logo around the Hex and Pulse, so that it wasn't uniform within the film, but still a way to show it off.
Yeah, well, because so you know, you imagine Jeff is the director. He's he needs it to look like it's actually whatever is happening. And so if everyone's wearing the same shirt, it's like, do all these people know each other? What is this event? You know, but if it's like sprinkled up, you know.
I went ahead and updated the description with some information like the Telegram group where you can email inquiries if you guys are interested. The minimum investment I said is $1,000, but if you can't help in that regard, there is a donation address too that will help this movie be made and will go towards the production and the financing of it. But what I really liked is when you came to the community and you said, hey, there's an investment opportunity. So not only is it really cool that you can participate like we did, because we showed up in big numbers as Hexicans for the highest of stakes. And this won't be specific to Hex. So there's no need to raise the kind of money we did with the highest of stakes. But it will still benefit the Hexicans, not just in the pumping of their Hex bags, but also that there's actually a return to be made off of this too, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons why it's a little different. One is that there's opportunity for return. Two is documentaries don't usually feature like celebrities usually, and so it is sort of a different inroad into different
So the captain and I have talked about this in the past, and I'd like your guys' input on this too, both you, Lacey, and Owen. The captain and I have talked about this in the past, where if you're going to change the world, you really got to hit the trifecta. And we haven't beat this drum, I don't think, enough as of late. You got to change the finances, or you got to show people where they can make yield and make money. I think Hex has solved that for us. But then you also have to break into entertainment for hearts and minds. And then the political side, which we're working hard on the political side, and I think that's the hardest inroad going forward. But it's something that we are actively working towards here at the Discourse Syndicate channel. But I think part of the reason we like to bring it, entertainment opportunities like the highest of stakes and Mooch to Hex and to the Hex community is because not only does this community show up, but I really do believe that entertainment is the medium in which you will probably affect hearts and minds the most. Lacey, what's your opinion of that?
I agree. When you were saying all the things, like going down the list, one thing that I had heard before, and it may or may not resonate with what you said, is it's I don't know, but this is what came to mind, so I'm going to share it.
Let's do it.
It's the duty of people with money and power to gain higher consciousness to change the world. And it's the duty of people with, wait, what did I say first? It's the duty of people with higher consciousness to gain money and power to change the world. Like, we both need each other. You can be as high consciousness as you want, but you still need that money and power to make an impact, and vice versa.
Have that influence. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you really do, one hand feeds the other.
Well, how often have people listened to Fox News or Fox Business and listened to a financial product and been like, my world has changed. I am now just ready to go out and attack the world with this new financial product? Not very often, right? But how many times have you watched a film and you're like, I'm touched forever. Like, this has changed my mind forever. Like, this is that I resonate with that character. I resonate with what that character was trying to accomplish. It's him against the world. He's the underdog. Like, how often does that just pull at the heartstrings and actually motivate change?
Yeah. I mean, storytelling is so important. Like, as an artist, as an actor, it's our duty to mirror back to the world those emotions and feelings and connections, because we're feeling-based beings,
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. And if you can really speak to someone and connect with them on an emotional level, like, it does have so much more influence than, Fox News or CNN yelling at you. I think
I like that.
Fear does
Great point.
lot. Fear does so much. A big part of our world is fear-based. We're just pounded with fucking fear. Like, we're controlled by fear. But really, it's a little bit harder work to, instead of using fear, you use like things like connection or love, or something that speaks to you. It's harder, but it's more powerful.
Yep. 100%. I love that.
I think
Mango Junkie says he fears no man. I just thought I'd throw that out there real quick. So
I'll just add on to that a little bit about the culture element. Is that one thing that is sort of frustrating, I'm sure Lacey can agree with me, is how like kind of institutionalized and gate kept the like Hollywood is. And so part of what we're trying to do is work outside of that, like through our, you know, decentralized system that we have available to us. And so we really want to go back to telling like just really good stories and not like pushing agendas and all sorts of stuff that's happening right now, or like gatekeep people for just God knows why.
Yep. Well, Hexicans know a little something about gatekeeping. So we know a little something about gatekeeping. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually one of the gentlemen that has just joined us in the green room, he is a good longtime friend of the show. He is a professional creative. He builds worlds for video games. Oh, have you got to meet Crypto Kool-Aid, Owen?
No, I haven't, but I'm just excited in general.
So he's amazing. His game theory is beyond reproach. And I'm going to say this right now. This guy was one of the first guys to step up and say, we need game and we need movie studios throughout the Hexican community to affect change. Yep, he's been saying that for a long time. Crypto Kool-Aid, thank you, sir, for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Hey, guys, good to see a fellow storytellers in the mix. Basically, I'm a level architect and visual storyteller in the game and the film industry. So from the architecture end, I build the world. But from the story end, you nip the hero's journey to everything that you do, everything that you say, how you correlate and bring people in with something visceral or memorable is the most important part of telling the story. I went to Ringling School of Art and Design, so all of us are at Pixar and all the other type of stuff. If you deal with CG, you're probably dealing with us. And it's the same thing with you guys in film. You got to fix it in post. We'll fix it in post and give it to someone like me to clean it up at the end. You know what I mean? Fix it all in post. They'll be fine. Ship it. But yeah, it's good to see other people doing this, because realistically, stories are the most important thing that allows you to tangibly and tactically do stuff and remember it.
100%. I agree with that. And sometimes I have to wade through your comments like, do I agree with that or not before I say anything? But that one I 100% agree with there, Kool-Aid. So.
That's all right. Ken quotes me enough on what he does agree with. So
I do. Oh, you know, so I got to throw this out there, guys. When I was talking about Hedron and little Pac-Man bots, that totally came from Kool-Aid. Tell some of the other ones that I stole from you and didn't give you credit for yet. I got to do that, and I apologize for that.
I don't even mind at all. Again, the real message of a story isn't the teller; it's the history that it arcs. So as long as the message gets out there, it really doesn't matter what person in the game of telephone it came from. It matters that the actual root idea evolves, and everyone puts their own spin on it, and everyone does their own things to make that evolve. Right now, I'm working on a test for a different studio to do more different things. So it's just, as long as people are talking about things intellectually and putting their own spin on it, then it breathes life into the idea instead of being in an ego chamber where everything is siloed.
Yep. That echo chamber everyone's got to get out of every now and then, even us Hexicans. So I had to stop watching Hexican content and go back to things like, well, I'm a big entrepreneur, finance, real estate nerd. So I went back to my podcasts that teach those specific things, but I needed to circle back around. And so I'm back here with you guys full time again, but man, I needed to step away for a little bit. I got to give a big shout out to my oldest son, Chad Donnerschwanz is in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate you, brother. My son, my oldest son. It is so good to see you tonight.
Your son is in your YouTube channel chat?
Well, so this originates from maybe a year ago. I think it was on stream.
As a father, I'm pretty sure.
We were talking about how old I am and how young he is in the chat. And I made the comment that, hey, if you were born in the early 2000s, there's a good chance I'm your dad. So ever since, I've just assumed that I am his dad. I just assume as much. So, oh, okay. So I'm not calling you dad, not even if there's a fire at Kinetics. Okay, so Chad will not call me father or dad.
Oh, geez, we just went from. I didn't mean to cause a family rift here.
No, it's all right. I did. I sunned him on live stream. I sure did. So
the Lord,
really,
so
Gene, but Chad is not my son. I love it. That's great. All right. So I got a few other people. I highly respect these guys, and I believe that they will behave themselves. So I will go ahead and bring these two gentlemen up right now. First off is Thos Child. It is so good to see you, brother. How are you doing? And we got no audio from this gentleman. So while he unfucks himself, as we like to say, I'm going to go ahead.
Now my ears can.
I don't have kids in the car. So I'll be talking to Kool-Aid here with kids in the car. And I get the fuckity fucks. And I'm like, earmuffs, kids. And Larry, you need to shut your mouth with the dirty words while my kids.
I used to be a truck driver before I went into entertainment, so I can be salty.
So I got to bring up, this is our producer. He has gotten us some really high level political figures, specifically political, but also some people with some really big followings of their own that have come onto our channel. So for that reason, we call Crypto King the producer of the Discourse Syndicate show. I'm sure you probably have a shout out. He does a weekly shout out on the FN Hangout. I'm sure he has something to do in that regard now. So I would love to give you the floor, Crypto King.
Of course. Hello, everybody. Great to be on with Lacey and Owen, and of course, Crypto Kool-Aid. Always a great time on FN Hangout. We always chat off and on. So yeah, of course, brother.
That's all right. I do have.
But of course. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm very proud to have the cast show up here on the show tonight that we do have. Absolutely, they're greater than I. And in fact, I've been told several times in the live stream chats that feel free to remove yourself from the screen at any time. Kinetics is what they told me. So go ahead, King.
Yeah. So I think my shout out for this week will be to Gerald Salente. He recently just had his Freedom Festival in Kingston, New York, and it was a great success. For those of you that don't know who he is, he was interviewed by Kinetics a few months ago. Trends Journal and OccupyPeace.com. So just take a look at him, and he's a man of great integrity. And
yes, I was going to say proponent of truth and a proponent of justice for sure.
Yep. Hell yeah. And can you bring me up on the big screen? I want to. This possibly may be something I need to wear as an extra if I do make it onto the film. But check out.
All right, let's see it.
Can you read it?
USS Richard J. Hart.
Wow.
PLSX Hex 12. What is that? 1210 or 1219? 1219. December of 2019 when Hex became the live product that it is. How cool.
Yes.
I like that, man. That's cool. That is cool. I saw you saluting in that hat the other day. I was like, oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Hell yeah. You know, you got to definitely give it to Richard Hart for what he's done for us all, potentially for the world. He's changing the world for the better. And I had to, enshrine him in this hat. And, it's got the Fleet Admiral logo in the middle. So, yeah, that's the highest. The highest of the highest.
I love you, Hexicans, but man, you guys have really drank the Richard Hart Kool-Aid. There's no doubt about it. This, I believe, is an actual cult. I'm not gonna lie. I think this is an actual cult.
I mean, I think the coolest thing that you can get that you're not going to see in any crypto community, any group of people, is there's so many cuts of cloth, people with different utilities and skill sets that are all coming together, not for personal gain. It's not about the me, it's about the we. And everyone comes with their experience to lock in and help and grow and keep that mindset. I said it a long time ago that no profit from the work of others. If you put it against two mirrors and flip it up on its head, it's profit and help others. And that's what you were talking about earlier, Lacey, is that the genuineness of people actually wanting to take, if they're privileged or they're skilled, they show. It's the old parable about teach a man to fish. If you know where the fish is, you don't give it to someone. You show them to get it for themselves. And then from there, each one teach one. And you spread that knowledge around. And that utility is what grows the viral stone soup, if you will, from the old parable.
Yeah. You're super
That is true.
I love hearing you speak.
That is cool.
Well, we can definitely chat.
This guy will philosophize all night. Actually, I think Thothschild down here, I brought him back up here. I don't know if he has a mic that works at this point in time. Check. He's good to go. He might be able to beat you on the philosophical debates. So I don't know, or at least present ideas that may not get answered within a timely manner. Because
how much hex you want to throw into that pot?
No. I'm going to defer to Sir Lawrence's seniority of the age of Hexican that he is. I'm not sure how many years old he actually is, but I know he's an older Hexican.
Hey, Wales only. This is my boy. This is my business partner.
Duck down.
If it wasn't for this guy here, we would not have the Hex Investment Trust live for people who are accredited investors of 506c registered security. That is recreating the OA and helping no coiners and people in legacy finance invest in Hex without actually having to manage their keys themselves, because we know there are some that are not as forward thinking as Lacey's father, who are willing to go ahead and learn the skill, the art, and all of the education that comes with it to learn how to invest in crypto. Absolutely. So thank you, Wales, for joining us tonight, my friend.
Oh, no, thank you for having me, man. My pleasure to be here.
Yeah, brother. It is definitely nice. So does anyone here on screen have a question for Lacey or Owen, specifically Lacey? Because I don't want her to get bored. I want you guys to keep her engaged because our numbers keep going up the longer she stays on here. So
what? I was I'm about to have to hop off because I have an art show to.
Oh, right on.
Okay, real quick, I have a question.
Let's hear it.
How was Richard's cooking? Or was
he don't know how to cook.
Yeah, he was only allowed to saute, right, or chop up vegetables.
Yeah, we were cutting up vegetables, and we were like, "Have you done this before?" And he was like, "Why would
I?" Awesome.
Yeah.
Lacey, thanks for coming up in this community and spending some time with us. I can only imagine what your schedule is like right now. I mean, yeah, you were describing it earlier. I've known folks more in the music industry. I've been a musician for most of my adult life. And the ones who are really like breaking through, making a living, having some modicum of success, even to the ones who have like some kind of star in ascension, it's no joke. Like, people really don't have any idea. They tend to focus on the glamour side of it. And it's friggin' bloody, sweaty, tear-filled, work.
And I believe backstabbing might be a good word for that too.
Oh my God, I wouldn't even want to imagine that. God,
yeah,
you got to be a tough soul. So hats off to you, and we're glad to get a sister soldier, up in here. You got to be tough.
Yeah, no, honestly, this I've never felt like so part of something. Like this community is very unique. I'm not a part of anything like it. Like, I'm really not. I have like my acting classes, but every one of you guys like shows up, you talk to, like, nobody's a stranger in this community, and you all support each other and you all help each other, and it's very unique to feel. So I'm glad I'm here.
We're happy to have you. Thanks for bringing the bar up on this community, even if it's just a little bit. It's still an increase over what it was prior to you showing up. So we appreciate that.
You and your partner are in LA. Owen, are you in LA as well?
I'm on the East Coast with my partners, so yeah, and we like to film out here too for tax reasons.
Lacey, if you and your partner ever want to sit down and talk some game theory, I'm out in Playa, so any Hexican is always welcome to come and chit chat. We all help each other here, and that's the most important thing, is actually being there to help people, and then they will go.
As Crypto Kool-Aid like to say 5,000 times on the 2020 Hexchanges online conference, showing up is half the battle.
It really is.
And that was about 3 boxes of wine deep into the Hex conference, by the way.
That's where you get the secret sauce, man.
I'm really close to you, Crypto Kool-Aid. I don't know your real name.
It's Larry
or Lawrence. But I'm directly next to LAX. So,
yes, I'm close to you.
Yeah, grab my info from Ken. And if you ever want to sit and chit chat, or Think about how to expand the Hexican ideals into entertainment. Both we work in the industry, and I'm more than happy to sit down and help with any ideas that you need something put forward.
After you get back from Burning Man, right?
And then speak right on stage at PulseCon after. It's going to be a gnarly 3 weeks.
Yes,
hey, Ken, can I make one more observation to share with Lacey?
I suppose that is acceptable.
Well,
guys, she's got to go. She said to an art show.
Listen, I think it's the kind of thing that she brought up the word resonate. She might have magnetism with the sentiment. Like I was in a PulseCon Twitter space earlier, and I brought up a topic of sometimes when folks are on the outside looking in at Hexicans and the stuff that we're made of, we could be, people think that we're like, think of us as enemy, perhaps. We're not antagonistic, but people sometimes look at Hexicans and they're intimidated. So they think Hexico's like elitist, but I'm here to testify to you that if people just let down their guard a little bit and they have a heart of some kind of acceptance and they want to learn, they'll find that like our door is wide open. Like we generally want to say to the world, like, come join us. We don't come out the box looking for a fight. Now, when there's a fight to be had, Hexicans handle their business.
We're not afraid that we don't step down from one. That's for sure.
True that. But it's the beauty of the shared principles and the, dare I say, the highness in the first place of those principles. I mean, we're literally talking world changing stuff. We all believe that here. So it's kind of the bag we operate out of.
Yeah.
Well, Lacey, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna usher you a farewell, and I just want to state real quick, guys. Again, we've got it in the description below. To help support the movie, we've got email addresses. We got an ETH address if you can't quite make the $1,000 threshold for the investor status, and you guys are interested in supporting Lacey as well as the Hex community going forward, because a lot of Hexicans are already very much involved with this. So it's really cool that this is a studio that's willing to open up to this community and say, hey, yeah, we want a long-term working relationship with you guys, and get that Hex name out there. So if you guys want to see more of what's going on with the Mooch film, with what Lacey is up to and her role within that film, please, guys, all the links are down below. And Lacey, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being such a lady on this show. We appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. Thank all of you.
Thank you for coming.
I'm excited to keep up with all of you. And if anyone who watched the show, if you guys want to message me, I would love to hear from you and meet you guys via online.
Absolutely.
Well, sweet. I had such a great time. Like, really, this was really cool for me.
Yeah. Anytime you want to come back, especially if you have something specific you'd like to address to the community, you'll always have a place here to do so.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I dropped my contact info also into the private chat. So go ahead and reach out. And I think attacking film with our mindset and ideals is really going to be one of the bigger pushes forward, along with sports and other things that actually enable people to do more with their money, power, and wisdom. So, yeah, glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Yeah, I got your contact info. So I'll see you when I see you.
All right. See you later, Lacey. Thanks.
See you soon, Lacey. Bye.
Hey, thanks for making that possible, Owen. That was really cool. I think that's really cool how it just kind of naturally evolved, that you reached out and you're like, hey, we think you would fit this character perfect for this.
She literally looks just like our, yeah, we had some like images of what we were imagining. She looked just like it. It was kind of actually scary. So
that's so cool. Yeah.
She looks a little French, for example. And
so what other movies have you done before?
So I've done 3
give
movies.
us a rundown on first.
Give me your IDMB, sir. Give me your IDMB.
And give us an idea of the projects that you guys have done, where they've been picked up, what film festivals you guys have been to, because I was actually quite blown away for a smaller production company. You guys have really accomplished some pretty cool things.
Yeah, so the big one that I've like been the most involved in is Mean Spirited, which is our horror comedy we just actually secured our world premiere just last week in London at Fright Fest.
Oh wow.
That's really big for us. If you're
deal, guys. That's a big deal. That's the biggest one, right, in Europe?
So it's kind of like the Sundance of horror in Europe, 2 layers or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll take it. You know,
It's still a pretty big deal, man. It's
Yeah.
still a pretty big deal.
So I'll take it, and then we're looking at a LA US premiere. So I'll let you know, Larry, about that. It's looking like they're probably not watching the stream, but I'm grabbing drinks with the Beyond Fest when I'm in London, and it's looking like it's a pretty good deal. So that'll probably be our US premiere. So for this movie,
Very cool,
which will be really great. And we're friends with Shudder, which is the the horror streaming platform.
Nice.
And so I can't give too much details, but we're talking with them. We're talking to other people, who knows. But yeah, so that's sort of the idea. My last movie's on Shudder, but it's a lot smaller movie, Mass Hysteria. So that's on Shudder. I just sold my movie before that to Peacock. That's called Youth Men. It's kind of a mockumentary on youth group, which is I grew up in youth group. I think you'd enjoy it if you know youth group or am interested about it.
Hey, he doesn't like that there's two characters on stream that are not allowed to talk about it. So can't talk about it. And I don't know if you catch any of our streams, but the one thing I get razzed for the most is starting to be like, I'm so excited, guys, but I can't talk about it. So,
hey, maybe we can make.
I'm pretty amenable to talk about most things. I'm usually pretty transparent about this stuff.
Maybe we can make a silent picture.
If it affects my deal at all, like if Sam from Shudder happens to be watching, he's like,
no, don't compromise those relations.
Well, actually, the funny thing
that's
is
why I don't talk.
Yeah,
I don't want to compromise those relations that I'm in the middle of.
Does that mean we're not allowed to ask him what it's like to work with Trey Parker and Matt Stone?
Oh, ha ha ha. So, okay. I literally thought of the name randomly, and then I found the movie after the fact.
Oh, really? Crazy, man.
That's too funny.
Yeah, so it's just a funny coincidence. And now I'm just like stuck with it as a brand thing because I've used it for so long. It's just,
absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
Yes, Brizology. These are my awards for keeping my mouth shut.
Golden Globes.
These are all the things that I wasn't able to talk about until they were released.
But no, Owen, like whenever I build like my stories, I always use the term visceral. And people, you always take it as a negative connotation, but like visceral, like Vanilla Sky is still visceral. It makes you walk away with something. Like just any horror has such a ability to touch that visceral template, and it really makes you think. And it doesn't even have to be horror. It has to be horrifying for your mind to actually hold on to it and walk away. And no matter what I build, it has to have that twist. And I think
and I'll tell you about this one a little bit. And I also play bartender in it, and I like to cameo in my movies.
Sure.
But I think I do a terrible job. I think I'm a terrible actor. But anyways,
that's why they gave you is it a speaking role?
It is. I do get into a fight with one of the characters, and I'm not officially an actor or whatever. But
the trick is your eye. That's why you're the director and the creator. The eye isn't the mouth, right? You know.
Actually, this past movie felt really visceral to me because basically these two childhood friends, they have this traumatic experience together, and it sort of divides them a bit. And then one of them ends up making it in Hollywood, and the other one is sort of like just doing their own YouTube channel thing, and then they reconnect in this like horrific experience. And it a little bit happened to me personally because one of my really close friends in high school is Joe Keery, who plays Steve Harrington in Stranger Things.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And he was actually like a childhood friend of mine, and we lost touch, and now he's like hanging out with Chris Rock and barely answers my texts anymore.
Damn bastards. Well, what's crazy, as you already know, like the 2 degrees of bacon in the film and the gaming industry is really incredibly small when you get in there. It really is kind of wild how it all nips and tucks.
The whole movie and gaming industry eats bacon. That is correct. I agree with that statement. Except the ones that don't, right?
Jeez, I gotta step up my freaking stream setup. You guys are embarrassing me.
What's up, guys?
We'll get you there eventually.
Up,
I mean, yeah, you are not representing a film production crew very well with your setup, my friend.
Again, yeah, you need to have Jeff on here because he has all his like.
You see all the lights in the background and stuff. We've had some meetings, and it's like, yeah, the guy's got some production equipment for sure.
Yeah, he literally keeps all the equipment with him at all times, and then I'm just literally just some finance nerd that just likes movies.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you do your professional work, it's not now. That's why I don't care at this point. In fact, I'm working on making something badass perfect. And I don't give a shit about my place right now because this is where I live. This is home. It's not work. When you have to turn the home into the work, now you're like, fuck.
Yeah. I also keep a lot of my wealth in movies. I have a very bizarre portfolio. It's like 50% crypto, 50% movies, and I'm not even kidding.
Well, we'll
the
definitely get together and talk more off stage about this.
The beauty of portfolio income, though, is that you don't get taxed for Social Security. You can get taxed as long-term capital gains. Like there's some huge benefits to that. So from one finance nerd to another, I'm vibing with you, and I get it. I love it.
Yeah, well, you take profits and then you invest in the film, and then you defer your tax liability. It's like actually kind of an insane finance vehicle I built for
pretty brilliant. I love it.
Finances.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost like 1031 for real estate, kind of, sort of.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, real estate's huge.
Qualifies as passive. Yeah,
it's like all these tax hacks are like so cool. I love that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, Wales, did you catch that? Lacey is very interested in the real estate space. I don't know how much you know or what kind of connections you have, but
yes, he is her new mortgage broker. So he's holding all the notes on her new properties. So.
You guys are too funny.
Jokes. Hey, Ken, earlier, man, I was afraid that your jawline was going to crack. You were grinning so hard the first 5 minutes of this stream tonight.
She was so on point, dude. It was funny because she was hilarious in the green room before, and I don't mean hilarious like cracking jokes, but like just so amicable and just made things so smooth and so
chill.
easy.
She's loose,
yeah, she's
right?
super chill. I loved it. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have a great conversation here. I can already tell like it's not contentious at all. Everyone feels natural here. So I was really excited to see that before we even came on that it was gonna. I
once
just knew it was
again,
gonna
fearless leader blazed the trail, right?
No, he is gone today, but I'm filling in.
No, I'm talking about RH, man. RH set a good tone.
Now, in that regard, absolutely. The fearless leader, yes, bringing her into the community, absolutely, and making her feel comfortable doing so.
Yep. He knows what he's doing always, man.
Yep.
Yes,
whatever, Brizology. Yes, there is actually a place that you go.
This is true, actually.
Prison.
Nah. If everybody does that, that's accurate.
Yeah. Dude, I'll tell you what.
You lose your
you can get away. Hey,
if you do that.
Hey guys, let's be honest here. The Clintons kill people and they're not in prison.
Oh, correct.
But there's a lot of people in prison for evading taxes. Just saying.
They got Al Capone, guys. They got Al Capone, they'll get you.
Al Capone. Literally the only thing the United States government really does not want you doing is skipping what you owe them or what they perceive you owe them.
Larkin Rose, man. The voluntarist Larkin Rose did a jail term, and I thought his game was tight.
Well, I always use the term "always survive, never get caught."
Stewart, right. That's all they got hurt. You're right.
Martha Stewart is right. That's right.
Then Hex, you are 100% correct. Not only do you get 3 hots in a cop, but you also get a boyfriend.
Freemium right there.
Yeah, I haven't paid taxes for a long time, guys.
I love it. I love that idea. I mean, that is so cool.
Yeah, it's not a freemium Kool-Aid; it's a premium.
That's right. That's giant beefy.
Female colony.
We went so far into this conversation. This was almost a perfect, flawless stream, and then in 30 minutes before it's over, someone had to ruin it. Thanks.
Did I do this again? Did I do it again? Is it me? I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't even you. It was King.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I do have to fly. I'm working on this test. Owen, get my contact information. As a storyteller myself, I'd love to sit and chit chat. Obviously, if you need some game theory questions, popping off ideas on how to move stuff more into film and all the rest, I'm always at your ear. So love to chat more. Welcome on board to the streams and all the rest.
Yeah, man. Kool-Aid, can I make an appointment for the year 2027 with you?
Yeah, I think I may be free around that time.
Okay, good.
Ken, the producer, Thoth, Wales, Gen Hex, all y'all, all the love.
Good seeing you, brother.
Happy Friday,
Yeah.
and we'll see you all soon.
Peace out, bro.
Yeah, buddy. You know what he's really doing, right? He's grabbing a box of wine, walking down to that hot tub,
And sitting in that
and
motherfucker.
mysteriously not going to get out to go to the bathroom for the next 3 hours. Just saying. You know it. Come on. You know it's coming.
I wonder
Of
if
course.
the cats float around in the hot tub with him with the wine.
He probably
And his
has like
cats.
little
They're all
freaking
like,
Probably has a
inflatable
floaty
rafts for the
cat.
cats.
King, do we get to see a close-up of the hat you were talking about?
Yeah, we
earlier?
did it earlier.
Oh, I missed
if
You missed
Yeah.
it,
Kane,
bro.
Kane wants to do
Here,
it
we'll
again,
do it
it's
one more
fine.
time. I think it's awesome. I need to. We need to get producer a better camera. I'm not gonna lie. We need to get him a better camera. But it's the
look at that.
USS Richard J.
Bam.
Hart PLSX Hex 1219.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
There you go.
It's the only downside. The only thing that I have a problem with is that is not a hexagon that those stars are forming.
Right. I know that. I actually
That is a
put
pentagon.
the Hex Toys pin in the middle, but it kind of covered up the stars a little bit. So yeah, I already tried that.
I don't even think you could have gotten like a 6-star thing done. I think that's like a template or something, you know?
Right. Yeah,
Kool-Aid didn't go too far away.
Yeah.
He has an inflatable raft for the wine, not the cat, by the way. Just want to update everybody
Oh
who
my
was
God.
curious.
I love that he left and is just watching the stream.
Yeah, me too.
Like, are you actually busy?
That's exactly why we're talking about him, because we know he's watching.
We know he's
Yeah,
lurking. We know it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Lawrence
That's so
can do
funny.
13 things at a time. So
Yeah.
Mayo, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, what's
Hey.
going on, man?
Mayo, say something that only I would know. I'll give you a wrench.
Oh.
Make sure you're the real Mayo, not someone posing.
No one knows what only you would know because you're not allowed to talk about it.
If only we knew, man. If only we knew
Yeah.
what you knew.
Wales probably knows. I share
might
with him because I know he'll be quiet. So
Yeah, I don't know what to talk.
So Mayo, I want to give a giant shout out to Mayo. Mayo's working with Jake Lund. They're preparing for the Diamond Belt in December,
That guy
which is a
beast.
yes, he is. Like he is. So John Wayne Parr, for those of you who are familiar, is like the reigning world champion kickboxer, like the superstar, the Conor McGregor of the kickboxing world. And he has pinned on Joe Rogan's show Jake Lund as the next superstar, world superstar. And the Diamond Belt is a big deal because after the Diamond Belt comes the one competition, the worldwide one competition. So he is Jake is working with Mayo right now to get themselves over to Thailand to train because the best of the best in the world train in Thailand.
Yeah, that's sick, man. That's so major.
Yes.
Yeah,
Optimal
Hopefully
Timeline
Mayo-
gets it. John Wayne Parr is a champ through and through.
hopefully we could get a second run of those beast ass shirts too.
So
Yeah.
that is going to happen. Those, and we've got a revised, even fancier version of those too, that will be available on the website coming up soon. So I showed you guys. This is actually one of the shirts. This has actually got the Crypto Junkies logo. I love these things with the hood. Super.
Nice.
This is great for working
you're
out.
not
for
going
running
to
in.
take off your shirt tonight, are you?
No.
Okay.
I didn't want to the first time, but I got paid. I got $100 super chat to take off the shirt.
Yeah.
That was
What else
far
am I
out
gonna
there.
do?
You paid $100.
Dude, you want to pay me $100
You have
bucks?
no
I'll take my
choice.
shirt
You have
off.
No choice.
That's right. No choice. Literally no choice. So with that it being said, we do have the merchandise, guys, and we will get that in the store and get that fulfilled to you guys here soon. So we'll let you guys know. No Gen Hex. 2029 is what we're aiming for.
Right after my Kool-Aid
Oh
appointment.
God! Yes. So that's paraphrasing. Gen Hex. That is paraphrasing. But yes, $20.
I forget I'm
is
not
$20.
supposed to troll the chat while I'm on camera.
Yeah.
The captain has paid me back for that a couple times.
Oh yes, he has. He's on screen. You have been timed out.
I've been timed out well on camera. Yeah.
Gen Hex, he gets that engine going, and he's like, "Ooh, waka
Yeah.
waka! I'm starting to hit his stride now."
Take me back to my childhood, bro. I'm like Muppets, baby, man. Like
Fozzie Bear. Waka waka.
Oh, dude.
Can't help myself, man. I'm sorry.
I love it. That's great. Hey, guys, I ain't gay, but $20 is $20. It's one of my favorite shirts because it made me laugh for
Wait,
days.
rewind. You're not what? You're not gay?
A t-shirt is a t-shirt.
There you go.
A t-shirt is a t-shirt.
I had to do what I had to
I like
do.
that.
Not gay.
I'm not gay, but t-shirts are t-shirts.
Yeah.
Not gay, but going from a crab.
Is that
to
what they're handing out behind the dumpster at
Right.
7-Eleven? T-chairs? Margaret, I'm going to
I'm
go
just
back
saying,
there
it's
and have
just,
a
you know.
look.
Yeah, just saying.
Oh man.
What is the what was the old Wayans brothers film where they made fun of Boys in the Hood? What was that?
Oh, don't
I'm gonna
spill
get
your
you, sucker.
juice in the something and the
Yeah,
something.
don't. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
don't
long
spill your juice
title.
while drinking your juice in the hood or whatever
Yeah,
it is. I
South
can't remember. Yeah,
Central.
Central.
In South Central. That's
in
what it
South
was.
Central while drinking your juice in the hood. Yeah,
in a
longest line
wheelchair.
ever, like the longest title ever of a movie. But the guy come rolling up. I got some cheeseburgers, man.
Yeah, that movie was so stupid, man.
Oh,
my
So dumb.
When
I
Marlon
love when he's
Wayans
all
had the
tucking his
braids in with them slippers, his run.
Yeah,
I love when he's tucking his dad in and he's all, "Hey son, can I go to the party too?" And he goes, "Nah, dad, you know you got to be 18 to go to these parties."
I'm gonna get you, sucker. Was pretty good
Oh
too.
my god.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Briz. Thank
That
you,
was a
Briz.
good one.
Don't be a
That's-
menace while drinking your juice in the hood.
In the
That's
hood.
what it is.
But I think there had to be a South Central in that title. For some reason, I remember them words specifically.
What I say?
Maybe I'm
Don't
thinking
spill
about some
your
other
juice.
movie.
Jesus Christ.
I wasn't thinking about some other movie.
But anyway,
Yeah, that joint was
anyway.
hilarious. That I'm gonna get you, sucker, was hilarious. What was another one?
White chick.
I got this medal for
Vampire in
surfing.
White
Medal and
chicks.
medals. I got this
I
medal
don't
for
know.
surfing. This
White
one for
chicks.
shorthand. Guy got his eye put out by a paperclip. Office shenanigans. They made some pretty good movies up until probably White Chicks.
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of that one. That one
Ooh.
kind of killed it for me. I was like,
I never
"Ah."
saw that. Don't be a
Yeah.
menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. That's it, Brizology. Thank you.
That is a okay.
Thank
Don't
South
be a menace
Central.
to
Google.
South Central
There
while
you
drinking your juice in the
Copy
hood.
and paste.
My
skills.
goodness. Hey,
I
Owen,
knew
is there
that
any
was
way
it.
we can make a film? The Hexicans can make a film with a title longer than that?
Yeah, I mean,
What's a T-share and why does it matter? And why do we praise the T-share?
While drinking wine in a hot tub with Kool-Aid.
Right. Box of wine.
Don't be a pleb
Right.
you guys,
and hand out your keys while drinking your juice or something.
Just make the title of the movie Jim Rat Crypto's seed phrase.
There you go.
It's out there anyway.
Sounds good. Exactly right. And
I mean, his old seed phrase, the one that
I mean,
Right.
we'll make the movie, but we'll only be able to release it on this channel.
Right.
No one
Ain't
will buy
nobody else
that.
gonna watch it. Oh man.
Brizology wants to play whales in the next movie.
That would be hilarious.
I saw that. I was dying. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Chris, why don't you just come on, man? We never see
Yeah,
your
why
face
does he?
anymore.
Why he never comes on? I invited
Because
him
he's a
on stream
Bitcoin
one
maxi
time.
and he's afraid you guys are going to
Yeah.
crucify him.
Maxi.
Yeah, I
Oh,
invited
man.
him on stream one time, and he was like, "No, I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
He,
I can't go."
he
on
believes in that false dream of $1 million Bitcoin, bro. Like, that's hilarious. The guy really thinks that's
Last
going to
time I saw
happen.
Britt, he was in a wife beater knitting.
Knitting.
On camera. It's the last time I've
Yeah.
seen him.
Knitting
Oh,
a
he
new
was
wife
knitting
beater.
on- You're right. I forget he knits. Holy crap!
He does.
He
He's
was,
got that little yarn
knitting
machine gun thing.
He's like
cats
a fucking
and socks.
singer machine with his hands.
I bet you he plays the harp or something. He's got the.
Driving around a car without a hood, in the hood.
I'm sorry, tufting. Riz, I apologize. Tough.
I think that's why he says he doesn't knit. I don't believe it.
I
But
don't believe
hey,
it either. I'm pretty sure he knits.
but I do believe he's smarter than people give him credit for.
Oh yeah, he's wicked.
He's smart enough to not wear a hood on his Lexus when he drives in the hood. So it looks
So they
like he
won't
can't
steal it.
afford to have anything nice in the Lexus in the first place. So that's cool. That's smart.
That's gonna be the name of the movie. Don't have a hood when you're
in the hood.
drinking South Central from the hood.
Pushing your Lexus in the hood.
Yeah, the hoodless
Either
horseman.
sort of log line, but I think we're on
That's hilarious, Chad. Brizology's been hiding ever since Rag to Riches fired him and canceled the bus with Briz.
The biz with Briz.
I love
The
that
biz with
title.
Briz, that's right.
The biz with Briz.
Now, what's the name of the feature Rags to Riches does with Briz?
The biz with Briz.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Of course, the bus with the Briz would be pretty fun too. Have people, Briz approach people on buses talking about it.
Up with Briz.
I'm gonna, hey, Briz, it pays absolutely nothing, but how would you like to do co-star in a segment with me called On the Bus with Briz?
You got a GoPro for that?
You're gonna buy his bus pass if he does it. You got to pay for his bus.
Yeah. We'll ride public transportation around and stream. Yes.
And his hand
That's a good
sanitizer.
idea.
You have to supply him with hand sanitizer.
Oh man. Oh shit.
So is this another week where we're not? What were the captain's rules last week? We weren't talking about anything serious. Oh, that's right. And then Rag said we can't talk about crypto. So what the fuck are we talking about?
I wasn't here last week. I apologize. I kind of disappeared for a little bit.
That's all right. We didn't miss you.
Oh, you weren't here? Oh
no, man! I got like food poisoning.
Yeah, I'm
last week
fucking
or
around.
something. I thought I was
I'm sorry,
dying.
Craig. Should make light of that. Food poisoning.
Dang, that sucks, bro. Like, legit, that sucks.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Well, damn that gas station sushi.
Don't do it.
I've done it before,
but it's
so good going down.
To be okay.
It's so good going down. You just pay
They
for
give
it.
you a little cup of fuel to dip it in instead of soy sauce.
DMT nailed it, guys.
WD-40.
This is we gotta approach Jeff with this movie idea. Don't be a flood in Mexico while drinking your box wine into hot tub. I like that.
Nailed it.
DMT. Love it.
There you go. After Burning Man.
Love he's here. Man, Briz, we love this guy.
We baited him in.
How's it going?
Briz, you're in the area. Why didn't you come on sooner so I could see if Lacey had any hot friends to hook you up with, bro?
Right, man. Could have got you married off.
I'm
tonight,
single
bro.
too.
You got a hood on that Lexus now, right?
Had to wait until Vegas, bro. We could have got it done tonight.
She might have.
I know. You don't even have to wait. You don't even have to pay for girls in Vegas, bro. We could have possibly got you hooked up now.
This is a family show, guys.
Oh, that's true.
You could have fooled my ass. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Crypto King, I love your hat. That's awesome.
Thank you, brother.
And again, Owen, I make the plea. I'd like to play Whales only in the next movie. All right.
Because I knew what his eyes look like.
I can capture his essence.
I can capture his essence. You know, it would be hilarious for you to act Briz and then do a voiceover of Wales, like Wales' voiceover on your acting.
So what we do is we get a sticker of Whale's eyes, which is the only part of him we know through the ninja mask, and we get that and we stick that on Briz's head and face.
You see Briz saying like a kung fu movie where he talks, but it's Wales' voice.
Oh yeah,
there we go.
Motherfuckers,
Okay,
what are you
go kung fu
motherfuckers up
guys.
to?
And purposely have it
motherfucker.
purposely have it poorly dubbed only when Briz speaks in Wales' voice. Like everyone else in the film is like perfect, and then like poorly dubbed Briz every time.
Once upon a motherfucking time, there was a group of savvy investors.
Hey, Owen, I apologize for the devolving of the conversation.
Oh man,
I prefer it, honestly. It's a
Ken
good
always
relief.
be throwing us under the bus, man. Damn.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just as guilty as everyone else. I'm not afraid to admit that.
No, I've been in boring land for so long. It's good to get a little spice in my life.
Well, this is my favorite stream in the Hex community because we get to have everybody on here and just they get to be themselves.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Oh, and if you could just go on ahead and pull up page 3 now of the actuarial tables, that would be very helpful so that we can keep this moving along.
And next time, I hate to bring this to you, but I'm gonna need a cover page for your TPS report. So.
Yeah. And if you guys don't mind putting your pronouns in your name tag on your camera, that'd be awesome.
You know, I will say this: in Hollywood, that is actually a thing. I think the Screen Actors Guild forces you guys to do it, don't they? Like, not you on the finance side.
Don't make me talk about the Screen Actors Guild on stream.
Then maybe you shouldn't.
And we're banned.
So I've been in
Tag makes you sad.
I'll just say this.
There's so much I want to say. There's so much I want to say.
Yeah. So
we ain't won that war yet.
Yeah. So without talking about it, I will make mention to I've been on several Zoom calls with several film crews, and every one of them has at least one person on there with their pronouns next to their name.
Okay, well, I won't.
We shouldn't say anything about this either.
Yeah, if this is gonna get you in trouble, don't do it, bro.
Yeah, 20
it's
years,
all good. Hey, you know what? To each their own. Each organization has their own rules.
I said this at the beginning, but I think we are pretty tired of people trying to like force their political agenda into our content. Like our writers, directors will work with these big studios, and then they'll they'll share work in these like writing groups and stuff, and they'll say like, oh, this needs more, insert political agenda in here, and we're like, that's crazy. And so
you're like, no, we want a good story.
It does force us to go into these like alternative ways to finance our movies. Like, I have to just finance our movies because these studios want their agenda into the movie, and so
no joke, man. Wow.
And it sucks. And then I think the good news is that I think people respond to good stories, and you see that in the marketplace. Like, you see Lightyear getting totally destroyed, reboots getting totally destroyed, and you see actually good stories getting box office success like now. Yeah. So I think we are in like a little bit of a turning point in the marketplace where people, I think, are just desperate
voting
for the sort of content
finally,
that is
they're
really
finally voting with their dollars is the way I would phrase it.
Yeah, they are. People are starting to notice, but that content's getting really gate kept. And so if we can get past the gatekeepers and just insert like good content, then I think we're kind of in a good spot, I think. And then we also don't have to do all that stuff. So that's sort of my vision. So that's what I will say about that. I
just hate gatekeeping all the way around. DS is even gate kept within its own community. Can you believe that? That's crazy. It's just crazy to me. But I thought us of all people were used to, hey, let's not gatekeep people because we hate it being done to us. But I like that you guys are looking for creative ways around that. I think that's super cool. I really do, because it's more about the story.
Like we've seen worse movies get better festivals for like Mean Spirited, just because they fit whatever the political narrative is. Right. So that's the other struggle. But we find ways around that through, like, we partner with like really well-known sales reps that will pitch the festivals directly. Like, otherwise we won't get in because we don't fit whatever. So there are ways to get around it, but it is kind of an uphill battle. But hey, that's the game, man. Don't hate the player, hate the game kind of thing. So,
yeah. All right. Well, that's one thing that me and Wales have really discussed a lot in private, and we've discussed it on the show a little bit too. But you as an outsider, you're not going to change anything. So you got to get in there. You got to play the game, get in there, and then from within the system is where you can make the changes.
What's crazy too is sometimes people go to the extreme. Like, look at the stuff that Family Guy and South Park's been able to get away with even over the last couple of years. The people that try to play the game legit get pushed out, but the ones that go overboard extreme are still able to get away with it. Because
there's like a sort of grandfather effect, and then what's frustrating is that they sort of like close the door on the way. They close the door behind them. I've noticed these guys, which actually really frustrates me.
It's you know what it reminds me of.
Same with Sacha Baron Cohen too. Like, he's like closing the door behind him. It's like crazy.
There's been, I don't watch a lot of Saturday Night Live anymore, but there's a couple skits they did where they had Charlie the doorman, and they'd be firing some executive for like harassment for just saying just like, oh, your hair looks nice, or I like that dress on you, whatever. And then they were firing Charlie the doorman, and everybody's like, oh no, it's just Charlie being Charlie. If you've ever seen those skits, and he's all like this older dude, and he would say stuff like totally messed up stuff to people working there. And it's like, oh, it's just Charlie being Charlie, you know. And I work with a guy that's
seniority, man.
Retire, and he says stuff like nowadays, the stuff you just would be, your mind goes crazy thinking, how does he get away with saying this stuff to females? And he comes over and pats them and hugs on them and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's just Ricky being Ricky. And it's so funny because it's just like those skits, man.
Oh my God, may I please get there someday? Please, Lord, let me get there someday. Please.
You know who that skit is referencing, right? You guys.
Well, first you get that hex, and it brings you that FU money. Then you live life that way. So 3-step. How
you doing, sweetheart?
I used to work with a lot of tradesmen, and the funniest thing I used to like to say is, hey, it's 2020, Grandpa. You can't say that anymore.
Yeah, no, we went in this surgery center thing, and this lady comes out in her scrubs, and he's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Wow, you're looking hot. I'd like to get up in that bunny suit with you or something. And I'm just standing there like, is this happening right now? And she's like, oh, Ricky. I'm just like, holy shit. Did I just travel back in time like to 1983 or something?
And then you were like, this is awesome.
Can I do one more? Can I do one more complaint about this political crap?
Please.
I will.
That's all we do over here.
I will say, and I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. I forget how YouTube works, by the way, but COVID. Can I say that word without?
Yeah,
I think you can now. You can say
make up
it
a
now.
funny name
You
like
couldn't
French
say it a
toast,
year
but we'll
ago.
know what you
You
mean.
can't talk about the proxy war though. Can't mention.
Yeah,
that.
you can't talk about.
Wales knows what we can't talk about because he wants to.
Yeah.
Thank
I've
you,
never been
Wales.
there,
You
baby.
keep me in the loop on what is.
Hey, it's
Yes.
2022. You can't say that anymore.
I will say that the regulations.
Yeah,
were
Gramps.
The regulations imposed by the Screen Actors Guild and Hollywood to make films during COVID were extreme and almost completely destroyed the independent film industry.
Wow.
So much so that there was like a nonprofit that we applied to, thank God for them, called Project Indie Hope. And because the restrictions were, you had to get everyone tested every single day, and you had to have you had
That's
to have
real cost effective.
You had to have an on-site nurse.
Wow.
And all like, and
bunch of nonsense. No wonder
even
so many
looking at other productions, their
down.
production budget went up at least 20% just to comply with these regulations.
And that's not
Wow.
And then we applied to this nonprofit who like supplied this stuff, thank God, and we had to give them like a like co-executive producer or credit or something for them to do it. But like,
I guess that's worth
you know. Stuff like that is just like makes it so hard to just do.
Yeah, that's unbearable.
Just, like I don't even understand. Like I'm a lot more like freedom oriented, where I'm like, hey person, would you like to consensually do this thing? And they say yes, and then that's business. But we live in a world where people don't really get that, and it's extremely frustrating. And
some of these people that love
on a day-to-day basis. So.
Some of these people that seem to love wearing masks. So they're in their car by themselves. They're walking their dog. We should invent some gadget that just fits on their face, that has a tube up their nose, and as soon as they get Rona, like a little red light on top of their head goes off, and they can just all rock around with those all day long. And then if they get it, then everybody knows.
Owen, it sounds like just another okey doke where they kind of just are squeezing centralization onto every front. Like if they make a bunch of flaming hoops,
well, I'll tell you who wins.
that
The
are
studio
impossible for you to
wins, the
jump through.
reboots win, the people who can comply with this stuff and afford this stuff, they win, and they snuff out all. And it's the same with small businesses.
Precisely.
too.
And this is happening in almost every industry on every front.
It's
across the
super
country.
evil, and it should be criminal. honestly. But I'm trying not to get too worked up about it. I'm trying to be level.
I mean, I could tell you about what my friends in Northern California who are second, third, fourth generation legacy growers of hemp and cannabis. These people supply the medical industry. They make cosmetic products, and they're literally being forced out by the same companies that would pay to get legislation that threw kids in jail for 10, 20 years for dime bags of weed is now pushing out the independent growers. Oh, okay.
So insane, man. It's really gross.
Well, it's just on every front, man.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
Knitting dog sweaters.
Must love dogs and tufting.
Oh, no.
Well, just like the big box stores that were allowed to be open during Rona.
You couldn't go to mom and pop.
But the little mom and pops were
some
not
lady,
allowed.
they come in and arrest her because she's trying to sell shit on Facebook. But you can go in Sam's and
was that a Maximus throw?
All the toilet paper.
Yeah, dude, I don't get that. I don't get why people can't just consensually do business. I don't understand. And I'll never
not smart enough.
Because it is exactly what it smells like. That's why.
It's because those companies can afford to have their own lobbyists and the mom and pop stores can't. That's why.
Yep.
That's why
I mean, it's clearly like a very hey, top down. Hey, we benefit you.
It goes right back to what you were saying earlier, how these guys they get in, they live the American dream, they get in the door, and then they close the door behind them so the competition can't come in with them. Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey,
especially in comedy. We make comedy movies and they're like banging the door behind them. They're like, we did this, but you can't, and we're successful now.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Right.
Pulling up the ladder behind you.
Yep.
I mean, Wales would probably know more accurately the exact numbers, but this is the mindset of these people in the boardroom. They're looking and they go, these independents and these mom and pops, they're sucking up 16, 17% of this market share. Well, we got to annihilate those motherfuckers.
Well,
because we need it all.
People have been, highlighting that back even since what was it, late 70s, early 80s, when when the Walmarts and Sam's Clubs started popping up everywhere, and these little towns. These little towns that had a Ben Franklin's and an IGA and a Five and Dime and a shoe store. Woolworths, and then next thing you know, there's a Pizza Hut and a Walmart and a Sonic in every town, and those places fold up.
That's because the beatings will continue until morale improves. Love it, DMT.
Yes.
Just nailing them on the head tonight,
the
bro.
Targets and the Walmarts of the world, right? Like it's all the same thing.
I think I'm the last one
doing
here
the
to
same
drive
thing,
country, man.
And all the
Amazon's
stuff's
doing the
coming
same
from over the pond.
Yeah, well, it's coming from wherever it's coming. Right, it's coming from all over the place because that's the thing. When you're agile, right? Because when you have an online business, you're agile. You can do whatever to make anything happen, and the end user doesn't have to know what the process is. They're just receiving the product or service, and that's it. Right? So it could come from anywhere, and it can cost them nothing, and they're making 20, 100, 1,000x on that sale each time.
Well, my father worked in a steel mill in Pittsburgh, and they could take the iron ore, put it on trains or boats or whatever, ship it all the way over to Japan and make steel out of it and send it all the way back, and it was cheaper than getting it made here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So the companies were actually exporting our own raw materials.
And this was back in the day.
This is back in the 80s. And that's why a lot of the steel mills went
bust,
tits up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is where you get so-called white flight from all these old suburban mill towns and stuff. Where
look at Memphis, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's
you can't.
Detroit.
Detroit was a little different. It happened a whole lot earlier in Detroit.
There's a few old neighborhoods where there's the old money with the estates and stuff like that, but you go to Memphis, and people they let the areas get run down because they know who they're going to vote for, because they always vote for the same folks, and it's sad. They just never seen so many bars on windows, man. They even put bars around the air conditioners because they'll yank them out of the window.
It's kind of
that brings up a good point, because if they don't win that way, then they just redistrict, and then if they don't work that way, they just change the definition of words like they do now.
The bigger issue is that nobody really knows what they're supposed to do, because we've all lost that knowledge base. Our parents didn't fucking know, and our grandparents didn't fucking know. And this is exactly how we even have the Federal Reserve in the first fucking place.
Well,
so we got to go really, very base level.
Well, even any of the classes in school that taught you anything don't even anymore. Like, they don't teach you about credit and balancing your checkbook and shit.
No, they don't teach you anything about actual real life skills that you need to know. And so you guys, Discord Syndicate has been touting for a long time. We want to change the money, want to change the entertainment, hearts and minds, and we want to change the politics. I think that's the trifecta. I think those are the things we need to work on. Thank you, Owen, for coming on tonight, my friend. It looks like we've got a like-minded film crew and production crew that wants the same things, wants the freedoms that we do, and it is willing to partner up with this community. So you guys, links in the description below, how you get a hold of these guys, how we can all work together. And with that, outro.
Peace.